The city was quiet that morning, but inside the Carter Martial Arts Center, the air buzzed with excitement. Reporters, photographers, and students filled the wide training hall. Everyone was talking about the same thing: the Carter twins, Emma and Ella, both black belt karate masters and CEOs of one of the biggest fitness companies in the country. They were known everywhere, not only for their success, but for their confidence, their power, and their attitude. The two sisters had built everything together: their company, their name, their fame. And now they were hosting a charity sparring event called Fight for Hope. The event was meant to raise money for veterans and their families. "Make sure the cameras are ready," Emma said, tying her black belt tightly. Ella smiled beside her. "Of course. The show must look perfect. The world is watching." But they didn't know that someone was about to walk into their world and change everything. At the edge of the room stood a tall man wearing a grey shirt, jeans, and a worn-out apron, like he had just come from fixing something. His hands were rough, his hair slightly messy, but his eyes, calm, deep, and full of quiet strength, caught Ella's attention. "Who's that?" she asked one of her staff members. The assistant checked his list. "That's Jack Miller, ma'am. He's here with his little daughter, Lily. He signed up for the open sparring round." Emma frowned. "A mechanic signed up to spar with black belts?" The assistant nodded nervously. "Yes, ma'am. He said he's a veteran." Both sisters looked at each other, first surprised, then amused. Ella smirked. "A veteran, huh? Maybe he wants to show off in front of his daughter." Emma grinned. "Let's give him the chance. It'll make good publicity for the event. CEO twins spar with a single dad veteran. Sounds perfect, doesn't it?" They both laughed lightly, unaware that the story they were about to start would be talked about for years. Jack stood quietly near the wall, watching the crowd. His little girl, Lily, about 5 years old, stood beside him holding a small teddy bear. Her big blue eyes looked around the busy hall with curiosity. "Daddy, are you going to fight them?" she asked softly. Jack smiled gently and knelt down beside her. "It's not a fight, sweetheart. It's just practice, like a game." Lily nodded, but her little face looked worried. "Please don't hurt them this time, okay?" Jack's smile faded for a moment. This time, the words echoed in his head, reminding him of the past he tried to forget, the training grounds, the missions, the battles. He brushed her hair softly. "I'll be careful, promise." A few people nearby heard Lily's words and looked at them curiously. What did she mean by this time? When Jack's name was announced, everyone turned toward him. The crowd whispered, "He didn't look like a fighter. He looked like a man who fixed cars and worked late nights." Emma and Ella stood in the middle of the mat, smiling confidently. "Mr. Miller," Emma said politely, "thank you for joining us. Don't worry, we'll go easy." Jack smiled a little. "Please don't." That short sentence made the crowd chuckle, but his calm tone made the twins blink in surprise. The referee signaled. "Ready, begin." Ella moved first, fast and sharp, a perfect front kick toward Jack's chest. But before her foot could touch, Jack stepped aside effortlessly. His movement was smooth, too smooth. Emma attacked next, aiming a strike at his shoulder. But again, Jack dodged lightly, his posture balanced, his breathing steady. The crowd gasped. The twins were skilled fighters, yet this man avoided their attacks like he could read their minds. Ella frowned and circled him. "You're quick," she said. Jack's voice was calm. "I've had practice." They tried again, this time together. Punches, kicks, sweeps, but nothing touched him. Jack didn't even strike back. He just defended, calm and steady, like he had done this 1,000 times before. The audience started cheering. Cameras flashed. The announcer's voice rose excitedly. "The veteran is holding his ground against the twin CEOs." After a few minutes, the referee called, "Stop!" Everyone clapped. The twins bowed politely, though their faces were serious. Emma smiled, but there was tension in her voice. "You're better than you look, Mr. Miller." Jack nodded. "So are you." Then he turned to leave, walking back toward Lily. The crowd parted for him, but before he could step off the mat, Ella called out, "Wait!" Jack turned. Ella crossed her arms. "You didn't even strike once. Are you afraid to hit a woman?" The crowd fell silent, waiting for his answer. Jack looked at her calmly. No, I just don't fight people who have nothing to prove. Then he looked at Lily and smiled. Come on, sweetheart. He walked out of the dojo with his daughter's hand in his, leaving the crowd whispering. Emma turned to her sister. He's not ordinary. Ella nodded slowly. No, and I want to know who he really is. That night, when the event video was uploaded online, it exploded. Single dad outsmarts twin CEO black belts. The title went viral within hours. Millions of views, thousands of comments. Everyone was talking about Jack Miller, the quiet veteran who moved like a shadow, but while the internet was busy making jokes and cheering, somewhere in another city, a man in a black suit watched the same video silently. He zoomed in on Jack's face. His expression darkened. After a long pause, he picked up his phone. "Sir," he said, his voice cold, "we've found him." The next morning, the Carter Martial Arts Center was even busier than before. Reporters and influencers had flooded the place after the viral video. Everyone wanted to meet Jack Miller, the quiet single dad who made the famous twin CEOs look like amateurs. But Jack didn't come. Instead, he was back at his small garage on the edge of town, fixing an old pickup truck. His little daughter, Lily, sat nearby on a wooden stool, humming softly while hugging her teddy bear. "Daddy, why does everyone talk about you on the phone now?" she asked. Jack smiled faintly without looking up. "Because they don't have anything better to do, sweetheart." Lily tilted her head. "Are you going to fight again?" Jack paused, tightened a bolt, and said softly, "No, baby. We don't fight unless we have to." Meanwhile, in their glass-walled office above the dojo, Emma and Ella Carter were arguing. Emma looked at the news reports. "This video made us look foolish. Everyone says we lost to a mechanic." Ella crossed her arms. "He didn't even hit us, Emma. He just moved. Like he knew every move before we made it." Emma frowned. "That's what scares me." There was a knock at the door. Their assistant entered with an envelope. "Ma'am, this came in the mail." No sender name. Emma opened it. Inside was a simple piece of paper. On it was written, "If you want a real challenge, invite him again. You'll learn something you never expected." Ella raised an eyebrow. "Creepy, but maybe we should. He'll come if we make it official." Emma sighed. "For publicity?" Ella smiled. "For answers." Later that afternoon, Jack was still at work when a black SUV stopped outside his garage. Two men in suits stepped out. One of them handed him a sealed invitation. Jack read it silently. "The Carter sisters formally invite you for a second sparring session, a public charity rematch. Tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. He smiled slightly. "They don't give up easily." The man in the suit nodded politely and left. Jack looked at Lily, who had been watching him. She frowned. "You're going, aren't you?" Jack bent down and touched her cheek gently. "Only to teach them something important." She hugged her teddy bear tighter. "Just be careful." The next evening, the dojo was packed again. Cameras flashed, lights shone bright, and the crowd buzzed with excitement. The Carter twins stood at the center of the mat, both wearing crisp white G's with black belts tied perfectly. When Jack walked in, wearing a simple gray t-shirt and track pants, the room went quiet for a moment. Then whispers began again. "There he is. That's the guy who looks too calm for someone facing two black belts." Jack walked straight toward them and bowed slightly. "Thank you for the invitation." Ella smiled, her tone playful but sharp. "We thought you deserved a proper challenge." Jack nodded. "Challenge is good, but I'm not here to prove anything." The crowd laughed softly, taking it as modesty. But Emma noticed the look in his eyes, calm but deep, like someone who had seen much worse than sparring. The match began. This time the twins didn't hold back. Emma launched a series of quick punches, while Ella aimed a sweeping kick at Jack's legs. But again, Jack moved like air, dodging, turning, shifting weight effortlessly. He didn't strike. He only blocked, redirected, and avoided. His focus never broke. The audience gasped. "How does he do that?" Sweat began to form on Ella's forehead. "He's not normal," she whispered to Emma during a brief pause. Emma clenched her jaw. "Let's try together." They rushed him at once, twin flashes of motion, perfectly timed kicks and punches. But Jack stepped aside smoothly, using one hand to guide Ella's arm past him, and gently tapped Emma's shoulder, sending her spinning off balance. The crowd erupted. Cameras flashed everywhere. For a moment, time seemed to slow. Jack stood perfectly still, breathing calm and steady, while the twins stared at him, frustrated but also amazed. The referee called, "Break!" The audience cheered wildly. Emma and Ella bowed again, trying to hide their surprise. After the match, the twins walked over to Jack. As the crowd began to leave, Emma smiled politely. "You're holding back." "Why?" Jack shrugged lightly. "Because this isn't a battlefield. You fight with pride." "I fight only for peace," Ella frowned. "Peace in a fight?" Jack looked at her, his voice calm but heavy. "Fighting isn't about winning or losing. It's about control of yourself, not the other person." The twins looked at each other, quiet now. No one had ever said something like that to them before. Then Lily ran up to her father, holding her teddy bear. "Daddy, you didn't get hurt!" Jack smiled and lifted her into his arms. "Told you I'd be fine." The crowd watched the tender moment, a tough veteran holding his daughter close after a fight. It melted many hearts, but as they walked out of the dojo, a man standing near the exit quietly raised his phone and took a photo of them. He made a quick call. "Yes, it's him. The same man from the operation. He's alive." That night, the Carter sisters couldn't sleep. They replayed the footage again and again, trying to understand how Jack moved so effortlessly. "He fights like a master," Emma whispered. Ella nodded. "Or like someone who's been through real war." She looked out the window at the city lights. "I want to know who he really is." Down the street, a black car was parked near Jack's home. Inside, the same man from the dojo spoke softly into his radio. "Prepare the team. We make contact tomorrow." The morning after the second sparring match, Jack Miller woke up early, as he always did. The sun had barely risen, and the small town was still quiet. He made coffee, packed Lily's school lunch, and smiled when she came running into the kitchen holding her teddy bear. "Daddy, are we going to the dojo again today?" she asked, eyes wide. Jack chuckled softly. "Not today, sweetheart. Today we rest." She nodded and sat down to eat, humming a song only a 5-year-old could invent. For a brief moment, everything felt normal, peaceful. But deep down, Jack knew peace never lasted long. Not for him. Across town, inside the Carter Martial Arts Center, Emma and Ella sat in their office watching the video replay again and again. "Look at his footwork," Emma said, pausing the clip. "He moves before we do. Like he can predict it." Ella leaned closer. "I think he's more than just a veteran. That's precision training, special forces level." Their assistant entered quietly with a laptop. "Ma'am, you might want to see this." He played a video from a news archive, soldiers in desert uniforms, smoke rising in the background. And there, in the center of the chaos, was Jack, younger but unmistakable. The reporter's voice in the old footage said, "Sergeant Jack Miller, leader of the Echo Squad, known for rescuing hostages in Operation Silent River." Emma's eyes widened. "He was a hero," Ella whispered. "Then why is he hiding?" The assistant added softly, "There's more. His entire unit went missing 3 years ago. Classified mission. He was the only survivor." Silence filled the room. Emma turned off the screen. "Maybe that's why he doesn't talk about his past." Ella nodded. "Or maybe someone doesn't want him to." Meanwhile, outside the Carter Center, a black car was parked again. Inside sat Agent Cole, a man in his 40s with sharp eyes and a serious face. He held a photo of Jack and his daughter. He dialed a number. "Yes, it's confirmed," he said quietly. "He's alive. We lost track of him after the mission, but the twins' video exposed his location. If we found him, others will too." He ended the call and sighed deeply. "Sorry, Jack. You can't hide forever." That afternoon, Jack dropped Lily off at kindergarten. As she waved goodbye, a feeling of unease hit him. He scanned the street. Everything seemed normal. But a black sedan parked nearby made his instincts sharpen. He took a slow breath, pretending not to notice, and walked back toward his truck. Inside, his phone buzzed, an unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. "Jack Miller," a voice said. "Calm, firm." Jack froze. He knew that voice. "Cole?" he whispered. "Yes," the man replied. "We need to talk." Jack's jaw tightened. "I told you I'm done. That life is over. Cole's tone dropped. It's not over if they're coming for you. You think that video won't reach them? They already know. Jack looked around carefully. How long do I have? Cole sighed. Not long. Meet me tonight. Old train yard, 9 p.m. and Jack... Yeah? Bring your daughter somewhere safe. The call ended. Jack stood there silently, his heart heavy. He thought about Lily, her smile, her innocent voice. He had built this quiet life for her, away from the chaos, away from the past. But now it was catching up again. At the same time, Emma and Ella arrived at Jack's garage. They wanted to talk, not as fighters, but as friends. Jack was outside, packing tools into his truck. When he saw them, he looked surprised. You two don't quit, do you? Emma smiled lightly. We just came to thank you, and to ask, who are you really? Jack chuckled softly. I'm just a mechanic, Ella crossed her arms. Mechanics don't move like soldiers. We saw the news reports. You were a sergeant, Echo Squad. Jack's smile faded. His eyes turned cold, distant. That was a long time ago. Emma's voice softened. Why did you leave? He looked away, his voice low. Because I lost too many people, including myself. For a moment no one spoke. The sound of the wind filled the silence. Then Jack said quietly, Listen, if I were you, I'd stay away from me. Some people don't like that I'm still breathing. Ella frowned. You mean someone's after you? Jack didn't answer. He simply closed his truck door and said, Take care of yourselves. He drove off, leaving the twins standing there, confused and worried. Night fell quickly. Jack picked up Lily from school and took her to a friend's farmhouse outside town, a safe place. Daddy, why can't we stay home? She asked. He smiled softly. Just a little trip, sweetheart. Daddy has to meet an old friend. She nodded sleepily, hugging her teddy bear. Be careful, he kissed her forehead. Always. Then he turned his truck toward the old train yard. The place was dark, silent, and cold. Rusted trains stood like ghosts in the night. Jack parked his truck and stepped out, scanning the area carefully. A voice came from the shadows. Still cautious as ever. Jack turned, and it was Cole. He looked older but still sharp. You shouldn't have come, Jack said. Cole shrugged. You shouldn't have gone viral. They both shared a quiet, tired laugh. Then Cole's face turned serious. Jack, the people from Operation Silent River, the ones we took down, their leader survived. He's looking for revenge. And now he knows where to find you. Jack's expression darkened. Then it's not me he's after. It's my daughter. Cole nodded. That's why I'm here. You need to move now. Before Jack could respond, headlights flashed at the end of the yard. Several black cars appeared, tires screeching. Men in dark coats stepped out, armed. Cole drew his gun. They found us. Jack's calm eyes hardened. Then we finish what they started. The gunfire echoed across the old train yard, cutting through the cold night air. Jack and Cole ducked behind a rusted train engine as bullets shattered the windows. Cole reloaded quickly. They must have tracked your phone, he said. Jack peered around the corner. No, they were already watching. The video made it easy. More cars pulled in. Men in black tactical gear spread out, moving fast and silent, too professional to be common thugs. Cole's voice dropped. Their ghost unit, mercenaries, hired killers. Jack clenched his jaw. Then let's remind them what real soldiers fight like. Jack grabbed a metal pipe from the ground and signaled Cole to flank right. As two attackers approached, Jack moved like lightning, quiet, precise, brutal. He disarmed one, used his own weapon to strike the second, and dragged both behind cover. Cole whistled softly. You haven't slowed down a bit, Jack smirked. Fatherhood keeps you sharp. They fought their way toward the exit, using the dark to their advantage. But when Jack reached the edge of the yard, a laser sight flashed across his chest. He froze. Don't move, a deep voice said. Out stepped a man with scars across his face, tall, cold-eyed, and confident. Still the same, Miller, he said with a smirk. Always protecting the wrong people. Jack's stomach turned. Riker, once his commanding officer. Now a traitor who sold out their unit during Operation Silent River, the man responsible for the deaths of Jack's friends. Riker's voice was calm, almost friendly. You survived, impressive, but you should have stayed buried. Jack didn't answer. He was too focused on the movement behind Riker. 3 more mercenaries circling them. Where's the girl? Riker asked. You think you can hide her from me? Jack's hands tightened around the metal pipe. You come near her and I'll end this myself. Riker smiled coldly. We'll see. Before he could finish, Cole opened fire from the shadows, forcing Riker's men to scatter. Jack used the chaos to grab Cole and escape into the night. Hours later, they reached an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Cole patched up a small wound on Jack's arm while they planned their next move. We can't stay here, Cole said. They'll sweep every block by morning. Jack nodded. I know someone who might help, but it's complicated. Cole raised an eyebrow. Who? Jack sighed. Two women who don't even know what they just stepped into. The next morning, at the Carter Martial Arts Center, Emma and Ella were teaching a self-defense class when Jack suddenly walked in. His face bruised, his jacket torn. The students froze, sensing the tension. Emma dismissed them quickly, and soon only the twins and Jack were left in the dojo. Ella crossed her arms. What happened to you? Jack looked around carefully. We don't have much time. I need your help. Emma frowned. Help? With what? He hesitated, then said, Someone dangerous is coming after me, and he won't stop until he finds me. Or my daughter. The twins exchanged shocked looks. Ella said, You should go to the police. Jack shook his head. They can't protect her. Not from these people. He paced the floor, his voice low but urgent. I need somewhere safe. Just for a few days. Emma stepped closer. You're asking us to hide your daughter? Jack met her eyes. Yes, she'll be safe with you. You have guards, cameras, discipline, and you're the only ones I can trust. There was silence. The twins looked at each other. They could see fear and honesty in Jack's eyes. Finally, Emma said quietly, We'll help you. Ella nodded. But you have to tell us everything. Jack took a deep breath. It started 3 years ago. A mission called Operation Silent River. As Jack spoke, the twins listened, their expressions shifting from disbelief to horror. He told them about his team, about the betrayal, about Riker, about the lives lost, and how he escaped, vowing never to fight again. When he finished, Emma whispered, So this man, Riker, he's hunting you now? Jack nodded. He wants revenge, and if he can't get me, he'll go after the ones I love. Ella looked at him firmly. Then we won't let that happen. Jack smiled slightly. You two are braver than you look. Emma smirked. We're black belts, remember? Later that night, Emma and Ella drove to the farmhouse to pick up Lily. The little girl was shy at first, hiding behind her teddy bear. Emma knelt down. Hey, sweetheart, we're friends of your dad. You'll stay with us for a while, okay? Lily nodded slowly. Do you have cartoons? Ella laughed softly. We might. As they drove back to the dojo, Lily fell asleep in the back seat. But neither twin spoke. The weight of what they had agreed to do hung heavy in the air. Back at the warehouse, Jack stood with Cole, watching the sunrise. Cole said quietly, You sure about this? Involving civilians? Jack nodded. They're not ordinary civilians, and they're safer than I am. Cole looked at him. What's your plan now? Jack's voice was calm but firm. To end it. Riker wants me. He'll get me. On my terms. He looked toward the distant hills where the Carter Center stood. But first, I make sure Lily's safe, no matter what it costs. The morning light fell softly through the tall windows of the Carter Martial Arts Center. Emma and Ella had closed the dojo for maintenance, but in reality, they were turning it into a safe place for Lily. Security cameras were upgraded, doors reinforced, and their guards were briefed to keep quiet. Only the twins and one trusted assistant knew the truth, that inside one of the upstairs rooms, a little girl was being hidden from dangerous men. Lily sat on the mat with her teddy bear, coloring quietly. Emma watched her from across the room, her heart tightening. She looked so innocent, she whispered. Ella nodded. And her father. He's risking everything for her. They both fell silent for a moment. The weight of Jack's story still lingered in their minds. The betrayal, the war, the pain. Emma finally said softly, We have to protect her, no matter what. Ella looked at her sister, eyes firm. We will. Meanwhile, miles away, Jack and Cole sat in an old cafe near the edge of town. Jack had barely touched his coffee. His eyes stayed on the street outside. Cole leaned back, scanning the morning paper. You're quiet, he said. Jack murmured, "Something doesn't feel right." "Riker doesn't just chase, he plans," Cole nodded. "Which means he's already setting something up." Jack's phone buzzed. "Unknown number." He hesitated, then answered. There was silence. Then a distorted voice. "You think hiding your daughter with the twins will save her?" Jack's hand froze. "We know where she is, Miller. Tick-tock." The line went dead. Cole saw the look on Jack's face. "What is it?" Jack stood up sharply. "They found her. Back at the dojo, the day seemed peaceful. The guards stood outside, the sisters were training, and Lily was playing quietly upstairs. But on the street nearby, a black van parked across from the entrance. Inside were 3 men, silent, dressed in dark jackets, watching. One of them spoke into a radio. "Target location confirmed." "Waiting for signal." The leader, a tall man with a scar under his eye, smirked. "Riker wants the girl alive, the rest doesn't matter." Inside the dojo, Emma was teaching a small self-defense group, trying to act normal in case anyone was watching. Ella was upstairs, reading a bedtime story to Lily. Suddenly the lights flickered, once, twice. Then the power went out completely. Ella froze. "That's strange," she murmured. She looked out the window. The whole street still had lights. Only the dojo was dark. Her instinct screamed. She grabbed her phone, but there was no signal. "Emma!" she shouted. Downstairs, Emma was already moving. She signaled the students to leave quietly. "Everyone, class is over. Go home now," she said, her voice steady. The moment the last person stepped out, she locked the doors. Then she sprinted upstairs. "What's happening?" she asked. Ella whispered, "We've lost power and signal." "They're here." Emma's eyes widened. "Where's Lily?" "She's hiding in the closet." They both exchanged a look, fear mixed with determination. Outside, the van doors slid open. The men moved fast, using silenced tools to cut through the side entrance. They slipped inside the dojo, flashlights scanning the dark halls. One whispered, "Second floor." Thermal shows 2 adults, 1 small body. Upstairs, the sisters stood ready, Emma holding a wooden training sword, Ella gripping a bowstaff. Their eyes met, no words needed. The first intruder kicked the door open. Emma moved like lightning, striking his wrist, disarming him before he could react. Ella spun her staff, knocking the second man's leg out from under him. The third one raised a gun, but Emma threw the sword straight into his arm. He dropped the weapon, groaning in pain. For a moment it seemed they had control, until a cold voice echoed from below. "Impressive, but you can't stop what's coming." It was Riker. He stepped into the light, smirking. "You should have stayed out of this, ladies." Emma glared at him. "We don't let cowards threaten children." Riker chuckled. "Brave words. Let's see how long that lasts." He raised a remote device and pressed it. A loud boom shook the building. Smoke filled the lower floor. The twins coughed, struggling to see. Riker disappeared into the haze. Ella shouted, "Lily! Get her out!" Emma ran toward the room, grabbed Lily and wrapped her in a blanket. "Close your eyes, baby. We're going somewhere safe." She turned to her sister. "Meet at the back alley." But before Ella could follow, 2 mercenaries blocked her path. She fought hard, fast, but they were stronger. She screamed, "Go! I'll hold them!" Emma didn't hesitate. She ran through the hallway with Lily in her arms, her heart pounding. The fire alarms wailed, smoke everywhere. She reached the exit, only to find Riker standing there, blocking her way. He smiled coldly. "Going somewhere?" Emma's grip tightened around Lily. "You'll have to kill me first," Riker shrugged. "If you insist." Just then, a loud crash came from outside. A truck smashed through the side gate. It was Jack. He jumped out, eyes blazing, gun drawn. "Get away from them!" Riker laughed. "You're too late, Miller." Jack fired a warning shot, forcing Riker back. He ran to Emma and took Lily from her arms. "You okay?" Emma nodded, coughing. "Ella's still inside." Jack handed Lily to Emma. "Take her out the back." "Now," Emma hesitated. "But you—" "Go!" Jack shouted. Emma ran outside with Lily just as the flames started spreading. Behind her, she could hear shouting, gunfire, and the sound of fighting. Jack had gone back in for Ella. Smoke and fire filled the dojo. Jack found Ella cornered, bleeding but still fighting. He took down the last 2 mercenaries and pulled her out through a broken window. As they stumbled outside, the dojo collapsed behind them, flames lighting up the night. Emma stood there, holding Lily, tears streaming down her face. "The dojo," she whispered. Jack looked at the burning building, his voice calm but heavy. "We'll rebuild, but this isn't over." He looked at the flames and muttered, "Riker just made his biggest mistake." The fire from the Carter Martial Arts Center still burned through the night, flames lighting up the street. Sirens wailed in the distance as fire trucks approached, but by the time they arrived, the attackers were long gone. Jack stood by his truck, his face covered in ash and anger. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from rage. He watched the building collapse, smoke rising into the cold air. Emma held Lily close, whispering softly, "It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe." Beside her, Ella sat on the curb, her arm wrapped in bandages. She was pale but alive. Jack finally spoke, his voice low but sharp. "He won't stop. Not after this." Cole pulled up moments later, headlights cutting through the smoke. He stepped out, scanning the wreckage. "I saw the fire from 5 miles away." "What happened?" Jack turned toward him. "Riker happened." Cole clenched his jaw. "And then it's time we end this." The next morning, they met in a quiet cabin outside town, a safe house Cole had used before. Inside, maps, weapons, and old military files covered the table. Emma and Ella were still shaken, but they refused to leave. "We're not running," Emma said firmly. "You helped us. Now we help you." Jack looked at her, respect in his eyes. "You don't know what you're getting into." Ella replied coldly, "We didn't ask permission." Cole smiled faintly. "I like them." Jack opened a file on the table. "Riker's been running Black Ops contracts for years. Arms, smuggling, assassinations. He works through a front company called Orion Tactical. If we take that down, we cut his power." Cole nodded. "But he's careful. Hidden behind layers of fake names and ghost accounts." Emma frowned. "There must be something personal, something we can use." Jack tapped the photo of Riker on the table. "There is a man named Harris, his right hand. If we find him, we find Riker." Ella leaned forward. "Then where do we start?" Jack's voice was calm but cold. "We hunt." That night they split into 2 teams. Cole stayed with Lily to keep her safe. Jack went with the twins. Their target, an old warehouse at the docks, used by Orion Tactical to move weapons. Rain fell hard, the air heavy with tension. Jack crouched behind a container, whispering, "2 guards by the main door. Another on the roof." Emma nodded. "We'll handle the roof. You take the door," Jack smirked. "Careful. These guys aren't sparring partners." Emma smiled back. "Neither are we." In seconds the twins moved, silent, fast, deadly. They climbed up the side ladder, using their martial training like ghosts in the rain. The rooftop guard never saw them coming. One quick strike and he was down. Jack moved in, taking out the door guards with precision. 1 blow each, quiet and clean. Inside, the warehouse was dimly lit. Stacks of crates filled with weapons and ammo surrounded them. Jack moved carefully, scanning the area with his flashlight. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the shadows. "Looking for me, Miller?" Jack froze. Riker stepped out from behind a crate, wearing a dark tactical coat, his smirk as cold as the rain outside. "Bringing friends this time?" Riker said mockingly. "How cute!" Emma and Ella appeared behind Jack, ready to fight. Riker raised a hand. "Easy now. I didn't come to fight." "Not yet," Jack glared. "Then why are you here?" Riker smiled darkly. "To show you something." He tossed a tablet across the floor. The screen lit up, showing Lily sitting on a couch in the safe house, playing with her teddy bear. Emma gasped. "How?" Riker interrupted. "You really think your soldier friend is loyal?" "The man guarding her." "Cole, was it?" "He's been mine for years." Jack's heart sank. "You're lying," Riker chuckled. "You always were too trusting." Jack grabbed the tablet, his knuckles white. "If you touch her," Riker cut him off. "You'll do what, kill me? You can't even protect your own family." Jack lunged forward, but Riker threw a smoke grenade and disappeared into the darkness. Emma coughed through the smoke. "Jack, he's gone!" Jack slammed his fist against a crate. "We've been set up!" Outside, the rain poured harder. The team rushed back to the truck, speeding toward the cabin. Jack's mind raced, replaying every conversation with Cole, every small detail he ignored. "Please tell me he's wrong," Ella said quietly. Jack didn't answer. When they reached the cabin, the door was open. The lights were out. Jack jumped out of the truck, gun drawn. "Cole!" he shouted. No response. Inside, the living room was empty. Overturned furniture, signs of a struggle. Lily's teddy bear lay on the floor, its ear torn. Emma picked it up, her hands trembling. "Jack!" Jack's face went pale. "She's gone," Ella whispered. "He took her." Jack stood still for a long moment, his breathing heavy, eyes dark. Then slowly, his voice came out like ice. "He wants a war," he said. "Then I'll give him one." He turned to the twins. "Riker made one mistake tonight." Emma frowned. "What's that?" Jack looked out the broken window into the rain. "He left me alive." Rain still fell when Jack stood outside the burned remains of the Carter Martial Arts Center. His jacket was soaked, but he didn't feel the cold. His eyes were fixed on the horizon, on the war he had tried to leave behind. Behind him, Emma and Ella approached, both dressed in black tactical jackets. Their faces were pale but determined. "Any news?" Ella asked quietly. Jack shook his head. "Riker's gone off the grid. But I know where he'll take her." Emma frowned. "How?" Jack's voice was low. "He's predictable. When we were soldiers, he always used abandoned military bases to hide captives. There's one nearby, Old Fort Gray, that's where she is." He looked up, his voice hard. "We go tonight." Inside the old warehouse they used as a base, Jack laid out blueprints of the fort. "It's surrounded by forest, one road in, one road out. Guard towers here and here. Riker's men will expect a frontal assault." Emma smiled faintly. "Then we won't give them one." Ella pointed to the back entrance on the map. "We sneak in through the drainage tunnel." Jack nodded. "Exactly. Quiet and fast." He looked at both sisters seriously. "You don't have to come. This isn't your fight." Emma met his gaze. "You helped us when we were in danger. Now it's our turn." Ella added softly, "Besides, someone has to keep you alive." For the first time in days, Jack almost smiled. "Then let's bring my daughter home." Night fell over Fort Gray. The wind howled through broken walls and empty watchtowers. Riker stood in the command room, looking out the cracked window. He sipped his drink slowly, a cruel smile on his face. Behind him, Lily sat on a chair, tied but unharmed. She clutched her teddy bear, eyes full of fear. Riker turned toward her. "Your father is a stubborn man," he said coldly. "He always thinks he can win. But tonight he'll learn. Even heroes bleed." Lily's small voice trembled. "Daddy will come for me." Riker laughed softly. "Oh, I'm counting on it." Outside the fort, Jack and the twins crouched near the old drainage tunnel, flashlights off. The moonlight guided their path. "Ready?" Jack whispered. Emma nodded. "Let's finish this." They crawled through the cold, wet tunnel until they reached a rusted grate. Jack pushed it open quietly and peeked out. Two guards stood nearby, talking. Within seconds, Jack moved, silent, fast, efficient. 2 hits, 2 men down. No sound, he signaled to the twins. Unclear. They entered the base like shadows, moving from wall to wall. Every sound echoed. The rain, the wind, the distant hum of generators. Inside the main hall, Ella whispered, "There, 2nd floor. That's where the lights are." Jack nodded. "Riker will be there." And Lily. They climbed the stairwell carefully. Halfway up, a guard appeared at the landing. Before he could speak, Emma stepped forward. One swift kick to the chest, sending him down silently. Jack looked at her with surprise. "Remind me never to spar with you again." Emma smiled faintly. "You wouldn't last." They reached the top floor. The hallway was long, dimly lit, and filled with closed doors. Jack motioned for silence. Then they heard it, a faint cry. "Daddy." Jack froze. His heart pounded. He followed the sound until he reached the last door on the left. He pushed it open. Lily sat inside, tears in her eyes. When she saw him, she gasped, "Daddy!" Jack rushed forward, kneeling beside her. "It's okay, baby. I'm here." He untied her hands quickly, hugging her tight. "I've got you." But before they could move, a slow clap echoed behind him. Riker stepped out of the shadows. "Touching reunion." Jack turned, eyes burning with fury. "Let her go, Riker. It's over." Riker smirked. "Over." It hasn't even started. He raised his gun, but before he could fire, Ella kicked it out of his hand. Emma tackled one of Riker's men through the door. Gunfire erupted. Chaos filled the room. Jack shoved Lily behind a desk, yelling, "Stay down!" Riker grabbed a knife from his belt, lunging at Jack. The two men collided, trading blows, raw, violent, desperate. Years of anger exploded between them. "You ruined everything," Riker shouted, swinging wildly. Jack blocked, countered, and slammed him against the wall. "You ruined our team." Riker laughed, blood on his lip. "They were weak." Jack's eyes darkened. "They were family." With one final strike, Jack disarmed him and pinned him to the floor. "It ends now," Riker grinned, pulling a hidden detonator from his vest. "It ends when I say so." Jack froze. "What did you do?" Riker smirked. "You didn't think I'd let you leave alive, did you?" The red light on the detonator blinked faster. Emma shouted, "He's wired the building." Jack grabbed Lily, pulling her toward the door. "Go now!" The twins followed as explosions ripped through the halls. Fire and smoke filled the corridors. They ran down the stairs, debris crashing around them. Outside, the night sky turned orange as flames consumed the fort. They barely made it out before the final blast shook the ground. Jack shielded Lily with his body, the twins falling beside them. The fort collapsed in a roar of fire and dust. Silence followed. Lily sobbed softly. "Daddy!" Jack held her tight. "It's okay, sweetheart. It's over." Emma sat nearby, breathing heavily. "Did he make it?" Jack looked back at the burning fort, eyes cold. No one could survive that. The flames reflected in his eyes, not just destruction, but relief. And Zorro. The next morning the sun rose over the quiet forest. Lily played in the grass, her teddy bear finally stitched back together. Emma and Ella sat nearby, tired but smiling. Jack stood a few feet away, staring at the horizon. Ella walked up beside him. "What now?" Jack exhaled slowly. "I don't know, but for the first time, I think I can breathe." Emma joined them, her tone soft. "You'll rebuild?" Jack nodded. "Yeah, for her." He looked at Lily, her laughter echoing through the morning air. Then he smiled, a real smile, the first in a long time.